Shalom, shalom, peace, peace. This is Jadiel from the Fourth Angels Learning Center. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. And today's study is going to be on a question that Messiah asked. This question was pertaining to his identity. So we're just going to clearly show and emphasize on what the scripture reveals about his identity and what he referred to himself as. But what it means also as well. It's very important. It's going to be something very interesting. But before we get started, I want to encourage you guys, if you would desire to support the ministry, you can support us at 4alc.com. You can also support us at Cash App, which is $4ALC Bless. That's 4ALC BLESS. All right, so let's get started. So the question is located in Matthew chapter 22. All right. And the question is the Messiah. Whose son is he? And I want to point out some very important aspects to this question. All right. So let's look at this. Let's go to Matthew 22. And let's look at verse 41 to 46. Matthew 22, looking at verse 41 to verse 46. It starts out by giving you the premise: whose son is the Christ? Whose son is Messiah? It says, while the Pharisees were gathered together, Yahushua asked them, saying, what do you think about the Messiah? Whose son is he? They said to him, the son of David. He said unto him, how then does David in the spirit call him master, saying, and then Messiah quotes a scripture, and I want to point out as well. It says, Yah said unto my master, sit at my right hand till I make your enemies your footstool. Now, if David called him master, how is he his son? No one was able to answer him a word, neither does any man from that day forth ask him any more questions. This is a very important question. Now, the first thing I want to point out is look at the verse that he brings out. He brings out this verse here. This verse is located in Psalms 110, verse 1. So he says this verse is David in the spirit calling the Messiah master right here. This word here is Yah. Yah said to my master, Adoni, sit thou at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. What is David seeing here? David is seeing the one true Elohim, the Most High, speaking to someone who he referred to as his master. This wasn't a prophetic statement in the future. This was a current situation. And this is why Yahushua was bringing this up, Matthew 22, where they said he's the son of David, the future prophetic element of this son that was supposed to be born. But Yahushua is saying that David called him master in the spirit. Like he called him master at that time. And if he called him master at that time, how is he David's son if he already referred to him as master? Let's look at another verse. I want to point out another verse that David refers to him, his master, but look at what he refers to him in this chapter. This is Psalms chapter 2. Look at what he says in verse 11 and 12. It says, serve Yah with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and you perish from the way. When his wrath is kindled but a little, blessed are all they that put their trust in him. Look at what it says here. Very interesting in verse 12 of Psalms 2. Kiss the Son. Remember what we said in Matthew 22. Messiah is asking, whose son is the Messiah? Psalms 110 shows that David referred to this son as his master. And we see here clearly in verse 12 that the son is definitely his master. Look what he says. Kiss the son. This word kiss is means homage, to pay homage to the son. Pay homage to the son, lest he be angry and you perish from the way when his wrath is kindled but a little bit. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. David puts his trust in the son. He serves Yahuwah, as you see here in Psalms 2:11, but then he pays homage to the son and puts his trust in him. So we even see that the kings after David is gone refers to this entity as a son. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 30. This is not prophetic. This is the current time. If you do not put your trust in him, you will perish from the way. At the current time, not in the future, at that time when David was alive. Proverbs chapter 30. This is the words of Agur, the son of Jake, right? Look at what he says here in verse 4. It says, who shall ascend up into heaven or descended? Who have gathered the wind in his fists? Who have bound the waters in a garment? Who have established the ends of the earth? I just want to point out real quick. This emphasis is an emphasis on creation. Who has the wind in his fist? Who bound the waters in a garment? Who established all the ends of the earth? This is going back in time. This is not pointing in the future. This is pointing in the back in history. Look at what it says. Who's doing these things? What's his name? And then it says, what's his son's name? If you can tell. What's his name and what's his son's name? So we can clearly see that there's an entity or identity of someone with the Father identified as the Son. How can this be David's son if he's during creation, if he has the winds in his fists, bounding the waters as a garment, establishing the ends of the earth? How is this son David's son, as we see in Matthew 22, verse 42? Very important question for us to ask, because when he said David's son, when they said the son of David, he could have just said, okay, yeah, he's David's son. You guys are correct. But he was talking about his ultimate identity, not his earthly identity or prophetic identity. He was born through the line of David, but he existed as a son already. So when he asks, who is this Messiah? Whose son is he? They said David, and he says, how is he David's son if David called him master? Not only did David call him master in Psalms 110, but we saw that David called him the son in Psalms chapter 2, verse 12. So before this, before Matthew 22, we see that there was an emphasis, and we're going to look at different people declaring whose son he is. Matthew 16, 13 to 17. When Yahushua came to the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? They said, some say that you are John the Baptist, some say Elijah, others say Jeremiah, one of the prophets. He said to them, but who do you say I am? Look at what Simon says. Simon Peter says, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living Elohim. He doesn't say you're the Messiah, the son of David. You're the Messiah, the son of Elohim. Yahushua said, blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it to you, but my Father which is in heaven. Revealed what to him? Revealed his identity. He did not reveal his identity to him. Flesh and blood, his own thinking. It was the Father that revealed that the Son of the living Elohim was the Messiah that was there with them. The Son of the Father. So we have the Father and his Son. So this is what Messiah is saying. This is what they're saying. Now, before this, they recognized that. They reverenced that. Matter of fact, when they had that situation in the boat, let's look at Matthew 14, verse let's see, 32. Let's look at verse 30 to 33. Look at what it says. Matthew 14, verse 30 to 33. It says, when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid. This is Peter. And he began to sink. And he cried, saying, Master, save me. Immediately Yahushua stretched forth his hand and caught him and said to him, O ye of little faith, wherefore did you doubt? When they came into the ship and the wind ceased, look at what it says now. Then they that were on the ship worshipped him, saying, of a truth, you are the Son of Elohim. They worshipped him. They reverenced him as the Son. They didn't worship him as Elohim or the Most High himself. They worshipped him, recognizing that he was the Son of Elohim. No emphasis on the Son of David. Though he was truly the Son of David, he had a greater identity, which was the Son of Elohim. Who else understood these things? Let's look at him trying to let's see in the book of John, he tried to express this to the Jews that was there. Let's go to John chapter 8. Look what he tried to say here in John 8, looking at verse 41 to 43. It says here, you do the deeds of your father. Then they said to him, we be not born of fornication. We have one father, Elohim. They boasted, Elohim is our father. So Yahushua said, if Elohim was your father, then you would love me, because I proceeded forth and came from Elohim. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. What does that mean? If he's your father, you would love me because he's my father. I came forth out of him. Look at what it says. Why do you not understand my speech? It's because you cannot hear my word. You cannot hear my word. Let's go down to verse 58 and 59. Look what it says. Yahushua said unto him, verily I say to you, before Abraham was, I am, referring to his existence before Abraham. Then they took up stones to cast at him, but Yahushua hid himself and went out of the temple, going through the midst of them, and so he passed by. And this is what he says. He says, you're not even 50 years old, and you have seen Abraham? So showing that he pre-existed, but pre-existed as the Son. David said the Son. King Agur in Proverbs said the Son. So this is very, very clear understanding his identity. Even here in John chapter 10, he quotes another scripture from the book of Psalms. It says here in John chapter 10, we're going to start from verse 30. Look what it says. I and my Father are one. Then the Jews picked up stones to stone him. Yahushua answered and said, many good works have I showed you from my Father. For which one of those do you want to stone me? The Jews answered and said, for a good work we do not stone you, but for blasphemy, because you, being a man, makes yourself Elohim. Now he's going to clarify what he told them, because making himself Elohim was a reference of what he was trying to tell them. Look at what he says. Is it not written in your law that you are Elohims? Where's this verse from? This is from Psalms. This is from Psalms chapter 82. Psalms chapter 82, looking at verse 6. He says, I have said, you are Elohim, and all of you are children of the Most High. The children of the Most High bear the title Elohim according to Psalms. So the children of the Most High call themselves the children of the Most High bear the title Elohim. And they understood this because what he was trying to reveal to them, they said that what he was trying to reveal to them is blasphemy. He's making himself Elohim. So let's look at what he says. In verse 35, he says, if he called them Elohim, unto whom the word of Elohim came, and the scripture can't be broken, you say to him, who the Father has sanctified and sent into the world, you blaspheme because I said I am the son of Elohim. Very clear. The son. We can clearly see the Messiah is very clear. What he was trying to express was that he is the son of Elohim. This is what he says. You say I'm blaspheming because I say, let's look at that verse again. You say you blaspheme because I said I am the son of Elohim. Very clear of his identity. So there's a few more people that understood what he was trying to say. Matter of fact, the ones that were desiring to kill him understood what he was trying to say. Let's go to Matthew 26. Matthew 26, verse 63. This is Caiaphas, right? The high priest. Look at what it says. Yahushua held his peace, and the high priest answered and said unto him, I adjure you by the living Elohim, that you tell us whether you be the Messiah, the son of Elohim. It's interesting how in Matthew 22, when he was expressing or trying to explain who the Messiah is, that they pointed to him being the son of David. But now they want him to constantly admit that he is the son of Elohim so they can incriminate him with blasphemy, because they knew that the son of Elohim, the son that pre-existed, they knew that the son that pre-existed would be also divine or from a divine essence. And this is what they were saying he was blaspheming. And this is why he said, doesn't it say, John chapter 10, doesn't it say you are Elohim? You're supposed to have the spirit, the Ruach in you. You're supposed to bear the title Elohim as well. You're supposed to represent Yah as his children, as his sons and daughters. But you say I'm blaspheming because I said I am the son of Elohim. So this is very clear that they knew who they were identifying, the son of Elohim that pre-existed, that was with Israel. What do we see? So with all these allegations and with all these accusations, we see that the Romans were getting involved. So the Romans were able to hear and see the accusations and all this other stuff. Matter of fact, they didn't even want to kill him. But they did because it was a political thing. But check out this. In Matthew 27, when Messiah dies, one of the Roman centurions says it, and you guys remember it. It says here in verse 54, well, it talks about the earthquake. It says, now when the centurion and they that were with him watching Yahushua saw the earthquake and those things that were done, they feared greatly, saying, truly you are Yah? Truly you are the Father? You are God? No. It says, truly this was the Son of Elohim. Truly this was the Son of Elohim. So what is this saying? When we go back to Matthew 22, what was the answer to Messiah's question? The answer was not an earthly answer like what they gave in verse 42 of Matthew 22, the son of David. The answer was throughout the scriptures. He is the son of the living Elohim. The Messiah is his son. And his son has always been there working with his people to reveal who the Father is to the children of Israel, to his people. So it's very important that we understand his identity. His identity doesn't change just because he goes from existing before earth to now being incarnate and then being resurrected. He still is the same individual. He's still the same entity. He's the son of the living Elohim. And it's very important that we understand that. So I hope that this was clear. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us. And I hope to study with you guys soon. Shalom, everyone. Shalom, shalom. Thank you guys for joining our study today. I hope that it was edifying. And if you want to support this ministry, you can support us on 4alc.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube page. Click the like button and the notification bell. I hope to see you guys on the next study. Shalom, guys.